Are looking at Raptor Draft Day, which is coming up on Thursday, and we want to talk a little bit about the Raptors, their fourth pick, the future of the franchise, and who we're going to target in free agency, etc. I am Adam. As always, I'm joined with Junior. Junior, are you ready?
Let's go!
Okay, Junior, the Raptors were able to secure the fourth pick in the NBA draft lottery, which goes up to a total pick of 14 picks. We were projected at number 7. We got lucky. We pulled number 4. And this is a great opportunity for the Raptors to draft a high-level basketball player that can likely start on the team. So how did you want to break this down?
So we pulled up that first sticker. We're going to look at the top 10 guys.
Okay, so let's see who's in the lineup here for the top 10 picks then. Okay, there you go.
So we've got Cade out of OK State. Obviously, he's going number 1 overall. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. Now, the next, I'd say 4 picks from Mobley, Suggs, Green, and Kuminga. There could be a lot of shifting in there. We're hearing that Green's workouts have just been absolutely insane, and the ceiling on him is really high. He had obviously a great season last year in the D League, just scoring like crazy. So they're saying he's probably a pretty strong fit for number 2.
I would agree there.
And then it's looking like Kuminga and Mobley are looking in the three range. Everyone's got the Raps either taking Green or Suggs. I think that they might go off the board here. There's a lot of developmental type guys, and we've talked about the development aspect of the Raptors and the fact that we do have the number 1 player development program in the NBA.
Absolutely.
So taking someone who might be a little more raw with a higher ceiling, where I'd look at guys like Kuminga, Scotty Barnes out of FSU.
Big-time athlete.
Huge athlete. The guy's just super athletic.
He's probably the most athletic in this draft.
I'd say so. And I think the Raps might be leaning towards that because they could turn him into something. The other guy I'd look at is Kuminga. They're saying that this guy's got the potential to be a Kawhi-like player.
Yep.
In terms of his defense and his ability to score the ball. Again, very raw coming out of the D League as well.
He's got that history back to the Congo as well, so this is not the first time Masai's seen or heard of him.
So that's the one thing you got to look at. I think that we might shock a few people with our pick, but I think with the brain trust that is in the Raptors room, in that ready room, I think they're going to make a strong pick at 4. Happy to be at 4 because the options are endless now.
Yeah, for me, I appreciate the ability and what our player development can do in looking at a player like Barnes or Kuminga. The reality, and I think we're going to touch on it in a moment, but reality is we're probably going to lose Kyle. That's just the reality. And a guy like Jalen Suggs, he's not afraid of the moment, and he's not afraid. He's a guy that can walk right in and likely stand right next to Freddie and have a strong impact on this team. Averaging 14.5 points, 4.5 assists, 5+ rebounds, shooting 50% from the field. I get it. It's going to come into the NBA. It's going to look a little bit different. But we're okay with having a smaller backcourt, and I think he would fit right in as a good competitive player, and he's also incredible on the perimeter defense, which in this league is so important.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there too. We also have to remember we do have Malaki.
We do.
So, I mean, when you talk about Fred kind of taking over that point, I think he's got the ability to do that now after another year under his belt. He's pretty consistent scoring the ball, and his vision, I think his core vision is starting to get a bit better now. And he's understanding when to take the shot, when not to take the shot. So if you're looking kind of off guard, I think Malaki's a good fit there too. So you don't want to draft another Malaki type guy because I think that's what Suggs is. He's very similar to Malaki. If we've already got that guy, let's just develop that guy and find something else that's a huge issue on this team, which is rebounding. We need to have more presence in the paint And I don't think taking another off guard is going to be I don't think it's the right plan, at least the way I look at things.
I mean, the absolute dream is that, for me anyways, is that you could trade up and get Mobley. I mean, he's going to need a bit of work, but this guy can block. He's a stretch. He's 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan. I mean, he needs to easily put 20 pounds of pure muscle on him to really be effective against guys like, Ayton or, Giannis, anybody who's got just an incredible size to him, because he's about 220 soaking wet. I mean, he would be an absolute prize for me. I think that would be great, but the reality is the Raptors want to compete and they want to be in the playoffs. And if you're looking for an automatic fit, I know we probably don't need more guards. We definitely don't, but I think you probably look at maybe moving Flynn and bringing in Jalen. I think he's the one who's going to be available. I don't see Green not going to. I mean, if we can get Green, get him immediately. This guy is a sharpshooter. He's a sniper. He's a problem for a lot of teams, and he's very athletic. Okay.
I mean, literally the way we have it listed here is the way it could end up going down.
Barnes, I'd probably put Green at 2 and then Mobley Suggs. I think that's how it's going to go. Not that even Mobley is the best fit for Cleveland at the 3 spot. They're also looking to move Jared Allen, which I believe the Raptors are quite interested in bringing to our team. We'll have to see how that kind of all lines up. But I'm of the mentality when you're drafting in the NBA, you draft the best person available at the time.
You have to. If you're in the top 5, you take the best player, and that's what you get.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You never know with Masai because he's always got something up his sleeve, and who knows if he turns that pick around into something else and we end up getting a great player on the team. Pascal.
Pascal. So we're 5 years into his career, and his minutes have gone up every year. His field goal percentage has gone down the last 2 years since he hit about 549. I think it was in 18-19.
A lot more difficult when someone's actually guarding you and you don't have Kawhi getting double teamed, right?
3-point attempts are down. Free throw attempts and makes and his percentage are up, which I like. Because when you're scoring the basketball when the clock is not running, it's a huge piece of the game.
Absolutely.
His assists are up, his steals are up, his turnovers are down, and his point production is down. So I think that Pascal is having a bit of a crisis of character right now in terms of trying to understand what his role is and where he fits in. I think the mindset that he is the guy to take the big shot, which is kind of what he fell into last year because Kawhi wasn't there and he assumed that it was his team to step up to and kind of take control of that. Yeah. I think that decision he made was poor.
I think that was a decision made by the fans, to be honest. I mean, we paid him all this money and we put all this pressure on him to hit these shots. And, I mean, let's be real. I mean, yeah, he can hit a 3 once in a while, but he's not the guy to do that at the end of the game. He doesn't have a lot of go-to moves.
No, he doesn't. He's got a bag that includes one move, which is either dribbling the ball off his knees or his spinner. He'll do a little spin around, and that's it. He's paid because he produced. He produced in a false environment because he had a superstar that commanded everyone's attention, and he benefited from that. He got paid because of that.
Free man is easy to get an open shot, right? When you have a wide open look or lane or whatever the case might be. I just hate that they renegotiated that contract to pay him more.
They didn't need to. They could have waited.
And they have rights on him. So if he wanted to leave after his $2 million, I mean, we can match any offer after that, and you would have been exposed in the bubble, and we would have paid him maybe 18, 20 million, like what we paid Freddie.
Yeah.
Right? That's the challenge I
still think it for his production level might be kind of right where he needs to be.
In today's NBA, it's pretty crazy.
And then you have to look at the situation with Nick Nurse and him being sat by Nick Nurse and the headbutting that happened there.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's some question marks there. There's some marks there. I think we're going to answer them when we talk about Masai. I think I have an idea.
You have something? Okay.
I think I have something.
One thing I will say just to cap off Pascal is his name is coming out of the Raptors organization's mouth.
Oh, yeah.
It's on everybody's lips. Pascal, you're talking about looking at other guys, trading, moving players, moving the pickup. Pascal's name is being passed around, so he's definitely an option to be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kyle. Let's talk about Kyle for a minute.
Well, I mean, he's coming off a year where he only played 46 games. Most of the stats were obviously down, but his field goal, his 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage all went up last year. You know, he's 34 years old. The devil and the angel on the shoulders right now. It's you're gonna fall off. No, just keep going. You're gonna fall off. You just keep going. You know, there's a lot of that kind of looking at when is this decline going to happen, and it's starting to look as though it might be starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, this guy has earned everything the hard way. And everything positive that is coming to him, he deserves it because of the work that he's put in.
Absolutely.
He stood by while his best friend got traded from the team and lived with the decision, was rewarded with the championship. You know, he is arguably the greatest Raptor of all time.
Definitely.
I don't even think it can be argued anymore. He is the greatest Raptor of all time in terms of the contribution he's made to this team.
Yep.
So I think there's nothing he can do wrong in this situation. I wouldn't blame him to go chase another ring. He's put in the work here to deserve that. You know, if you look at a football player, you know, when guys have 10 years of experience and 5 years with the same team, they have the ability to do whatever the hell they want.
Agree.
They're 10-5 rights. So he's got 10-5 rights. So
listen, I'm actually completely fine with him. I know the rumor is him and DeRozan going to the Lakers. I mean, he's also saying that he wants 30 million or 90 million over 3 years, which is ludicrous for his age. I mean,
the Lakers won't give him that. They don't have
they don't have the room to do that. They'd have to trade everybody else in the team and take 2-player cuts. And yeah, DeRozan will take a cut, but Lowry seems adamant on the amount of money, which is crazy to me. But listen,
I mean, they're literally trying to get rid of Kuz for a case of suntan lotion. Like that,
yeah, that's what he's worth at this point.
Pretty much. I mean, they're literally trying to just clear house.
The thing with Kyle is if he goes to chase a ring, I'm okay with that because
100%.
Again, he's made his contribution here. It's well documented. He is easily the greatest Raptor of all time. And actually, I don't mind him looking to get another championship because I think it helps cement his legacy in the Hall of Fame. You know, and maybe looking at getting a ballot into the Hall of Fame and retiring his jersey. I don't think a lot of people would maybe think that Kyle Lowry's a Hall of Famer. I certainly do. I think he's done a tremendous amount for this organization and a championship. And another championship just makes that ballot that much cleaner for him.
Well, he's the captain of the first championship team outside the U.S. Unfortunately, anyone who doesn't believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, but he's automatically in there for that reason alone.
Yeah.
You know, no other reason other than the fact that he was the captain of the team, the first team outside the U.S. that won the championship. You know, the money thing is huge for me.
Crazy.
I'd like to see a sign-in trade where we can get something kind of in return from him. But at the end of the day,
not Kyle Kuzma.
Not Kyle Kuzma. We did not expect him to be here right now.
No.
We already expected him to be.
He didn't expect to be here.
I don't think he did either.
I was just looking up the player hustle stats because obviously he's well known for taking charges in the NBA, and I think you mentioned 46 games played. He had 20 charges taken, which was tied for second because there was 3 people tied for first with 22 charges taken. That just goes to show you that even at his age, how much of a dog he is in this league, and I think that's probably why LeBron is probably secretly recruiting him because he has uttered those words before.
Yeah.
But Kyle, whatever you do, we love you, we appreciate you, and everything you've done for the city of Toronto. So good luck, and
just don't play with LeBron. Just don't play.
I hope you get as much money as you want, but you know what? Maybe go to the Clippers and stick it to LeBron a bit.
That I like.
Playing with Serge, playing with Kawhi.
PG.
Yeah, that's if he exercises that player option, which I'm sure he will.
He's going to. He's not going anywhere.
The reality is he's probably out almost all of next season, if not all of next season.
Yeah, with that knee.
But you never know if maybe he makes a playoff run. Who knows? Okay, Masai. The Golden Boy GM.
Have you noticed anything different about Masai this year?
This year, anything different?
Yeah.
Not really.
Have you noticed
tell me
that he's been moving in absolute silence?
He has been. Year? I mean, he held up the trade deadline like crazy with Kyle.
Didn't talk about it, though.
Didn't say anything. He's quiet. I mean, he's been like that.
Didn't talk about his contract.
Nope.
His focus right now is on the draft and free agency. He's not been doing a lot of talking, and he's not been getting in front of situations at all this year. We just talked about the Pascal and Nick Nurse blow up where Pascal was fined and sat.
Yep.
He didn't talk on it at all.
No need.
There isn't a need to, but I think Masai is starting to see some of the mistakes he has made.
Okay.
We alluded to it earlier about the money that Pascal got. I'm certain that he's looking at that right now saying that was a mistake.
No need to renegotiate him. I get you want to try to keep him there, but you can match any offer after, right?
Nick Nurse may not have been the best choice as a head coach.
First-year champion?
First-year champion, hangover in the second year, and he's lost the locker room.
The bubble, I wiped that clean, but
you have to. You have to. But is it the lack of home cooking? Is that the issue, that these guys aren't back in Toronto and it's causing all these problems?
It's hard to tell the fans.
Let me tell you what's really going on here. Masai has seen that the rest of the NBA can see him coming now. They've seen him. He doesn't fleece people anymore.
No.
So what does he do? Just like you trying to get that game of Contra working by hitting the NES up and down, trying to get that game to stick in there.
Yeah.
You hit the reset button. Masai has hit the psychological reset button.
Okay.
Watch out, because free agency, the draft, he is going to do stuff that you expect him to do, but he's going to go even a step further. There's a reason why he hasn't talked contract, because he is here for the long term.
I don't see why he would go anywhere else. I mean,
he'll go.
Maybe he wants a challenge, but
2-3 years at a time. But here's the challenge. Here's the challenge now. Everyone thinks the Raps were a fluke. They look at Golden State with the injuries, and they didn't have Durant, and they didn't have Clay, and that's why they won. The whole thing with the dude lying, the dude lying about Masai pushing him and ruining his ability to celebrate that championship. I think Masai wants to come back, and he wants to slap the NBA in the face. He wants to build a super team, but out of talent, not names.
I mean, I love that. And, when I talk basketball, role players, how important they are. And it's not about superstars, getting hot at the right time, all that stuff. I don't think you need Kevin Durant, Harden, and Kyrie to win a championship. You just need, a good group of players who know exactly what their defined role is, and they got to go out and contribute and just execute on that role. I mean, I will say if Golden State had Kevin Durant healthy and Klay Thompson was healthy, I mean, that's a much more difficult team to beat in the 2019 NBA Finals. And me being the hardest of the hard Raptor fans, I mean, you can't deny the ability that team would have had having a healthy Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. But
unfortunately, it's a part of the game.
Part of the game that includes this year's, and you're not going to take anything away from Giannis or any of these other guys, right? But I would love to see Masai kind of pull off some tricks. I'm still a little disappointed, when you keep looking back at this Russell Westbrook and Paul George that we could have had for Siakam, and that would have been just absolutely ridiculous because you likely would have had Kawhi re-sign.
Those are two actually. Those are two highly coveted trade pieces in the offseason.
They definitely could be. Let's talk about free agency, actually, since we're moving on to that subject.
Okay. So I'm going to toss out some names.
Yeah, you got a little game to play here. Okay.
We got a little game. So I've got tier 1, tier 2 free agents. So some of these guys are going to have player options and some are restricted.
Okay. So the assumption will be that they don't use the player option and they're free agents.
Yes.
Okay.
And then obviously with the ones who are restricted, that will get them for next to nothing.
Okay.
Like you might have to toss a piece here or a draft pick from next year in there.
Sure.
So obviously tier 1, top of the list, it is Kawhi.
He's going to re-sign with LA. I don't see it happening.
So he had 25, 6, and 5 last year, and he is 30 years old.
The reality is he'll exercise that player option because of the amount of money, and he's injured. So that's not to say that Kevin Durant didn't command a ton of money, even though he was injured for an entire year, still went to Brooklyn and sat an entire year. So that's not to say Kawhi can't do that, but he's going to be where he wants to be, which is at home.
Yeah. Next, another player option, Chris Paul. 16, 4, and 8, almost 9, and he is 36 years old.
Yeah, love Chris Paul. There's no value in him coming to this franchise at this stage of his career. We don't have enough around him to win a championship or command his talent. He's going to go and chase a ring somewhere to cement his legacy in the NBA.
Here's a restricted free agent, John Collins from Atlanta. 17.6, 7.4 rebound, 1.2 assist, and he's 23 years old.
Like him. I like John Collins.
You take a flyer on him, maybe put a package together? What do you think gets it done? You give up Milwaukee and a pick, or Milwaukee and Pascal?
I mean, if you're going to draft Jalen Suggs, I'm totally fine with giving up Flynn. What's that contract at would be my thing. And we're looking to re-sign Gary Trent Jr., right? So
I think he's still on an entry level, John Collins.
So that's a tough one. They would likely have to sign and trade him for that, would be my guess, to get him the money that he's looking for. It just depends on what the cost is.
So he was on a 2-year at $4.1 million, so 2.6 each year.
He's going to be worth in this day and age NBA like almost $15 million at that stat line.
At 17 points a game, that sounds more like a $20 million player.
Definitely, but I mean, I'm benchmarking like Raptors and looking at Freddie, who was commanding crazy playoff stats and is probably putting up 20 plus and whatever. Okay, but yes, so, I mean, definitely he could be worth a lot more. You got to consider.
I'm gonna write down 15, and we're gonna revisit this number.
Sure. I said at least 15, 15
okay.
plus.
15 plus. Okay.
He'll get a 4-year contract somewhere at probably $80 million for 4 years.
Next, DeMar DeRozan, 21, 4, and 6.
He's made it very clear with Shannon Sharp on a recent interview. He's made it very clear with Shannon Sharp that it's not about money. He's made plenty of money in his career already, and now it's about the legacy of the game. He considers himself one of the great ones in that interview, and he's going to go for a ring for sure. I see him ending up in LA, and he'll probably take like $15 million a season or $20 million a season to play there. Because he's going to have to. If they're going to compete for a championship, they're going to need still some role players coming off the bench that are likely going to be veteran guys that are getting paid league min. So he's not going to be able to command more than $20 million.
But when you see a guy like DeMar, who you even said, and he's even said, considers himself one of the great ones, is this dude going to come off the bench?
He's not going to come off the bench. He'll definitely start. But you're going to have to have other
Davis and LeBron. How much of the ball is this dude going to touch?
They're going to have to share time. It's going to be a different structure. If you have four guys like that, I mean, look at what Brooklyn did, right? I mean, you got to have one of these guys they all start together and somebody gets pulled off at 4 minutes, then put back on at 8 minutes. Another guy pulls off at 8. And you're just going to have to rotate those guys and try to even those minutes out. The reality is his mid-range game is absolutely insane.
One of the best in the league, if not the best in the league.
Very Kobe-esque in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. He's an ambassador for Kobe shoe, so on. He's a great talent, and he's going to need something to get over the hump, and it's going to be guys like AD and LeBron and whoever they pick up as a point guard, possibly Kyle. Who else you got?
Kyle, 17.2, 5.4, 7.3, 35, commanding $90 million over 3 years.
Never pay him that much. Love to have him still in the Raptors. I would love to see him in Again, I want him to be a Hall of Famer, and I hope that would be enough what he's done for this organization. I don't mind if he goes and gets another ring to kind of cement his legacy as a Hall of Famer. I'm willing to have Kyle here. I'd give him 3 years, but I would not give him $90 million. I think he's a maximum $18 to $20 million player right now. He still has a ton of. I still believe that he's got a ton of tank regardless of his age. I still think he's got a lot there, and if he's used correctly, and if he has the talent around him where he doesn't have to work so hard, which he had to do last season, which is likely why he was injured and only played 46 games.
He did
because he had to put the team on his back because people weren't carrying their weight. If he's on a team where he's got 2 all-stars alongside him, he's going to have to work a lot less, and he's going to be very, very effective.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. What I will say is,
I'd probably do a 2+1 with a team option.
He doesn't, for a guy who's got the amount of years in him, which is 15. He is just over that 950 games played. So not a ton of miles, a ton of hard miles, but not a ton of miles on that.
Yeah, definitely hard miles with taking so many charges, which I would recommend he doesn't do over the next 3 seasons.
This is what I will tell you about Kyle. This is the way I envision the rest of his career. He's going to go elsewhere. He'll win another ring. He'll play out 2 years. He'll probably sit on the bench a lot, not get a lot of playing time. But he's going to come back here.
For one day, retire?
No. He's going to become a part of the staff here.
Oh, definitely. That's. I mean, he's guaranteed a job here if he wants one.
His family love Canada. His girls have grown up here. Sorry, his boys have grown up here. They love being here. They're in the school system, and they feel safe. And I can definitely see that.
He's a hero here. There's no doubt about it.
Next on the list, Mike Conley. 16.2, 3.5, 6 assists a game, and he's 33.
I'm not going to deny what his stats are. That was the worst contract that the Memphis Grizzlies has ever signed. It might have been one of the worst overpaid contracts until the Raptors signed Siakam. I probably would have said that. It was the most expensive contract since Michael Jordan played in 1998 when they signed that at $35 million a year. I don't like Mike Conley. I just don't like him. Don't like the cut of his jib. Don't like his face. I'm just not a fan of his. I don't want him on the Raptors. I don't want him wearing a Raptor uniform, and I'm not paying him that amount of money. He's probably going to look at commanding around 25 to 35 million, and he's not worth that for me.
Crazy.
Somebody will pay him that money, though.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be us.
Next, Victor Oladipo. 19.8, 4.8, 4.6, and he's 29.
So I think he's also out for next season. I will not pay him that much. Too injury prone. You're not going to see the Victor Oladipo that we know and love from the Pacers.
Never.
So he's done, and I don't want to pay him $25 million for an aging, unhealthy Oladipo.
Next one is restricted, but very interesting. Lonzo Ball. 14.6, 4.8, 5.7 assists per game.
The Raptors are interested in Lonzo Ball for sure. There's no doubt about it. This guy can ball out. He's only going to get better. He still has a high ceiling to hit in this league. People have counted him out because of where he is or who he's playing with. You're dead wrong. This is a terrible move. Jello looks like he's going to be in the summer league with the Hornets. Don't be surprised if Lonzo is looking at going to the Hornets. Like, if these guys can all play together, I will not be surprised if it happens. Big baller brand
Lonzo goes off guard and lets LaMelo handle the ball. And
big baller brand will have this resurgence that you've never seen before.
Start outselling Jordan Brand in Charlotte.
I mean, this will be like the brothers in hockey. Who were was it the Suitors? Suitors and hockey. You know what I mean? Like, listen. You put those 3 guys on a team, it's going to be a problem. I don't care who. Somehow there's going to be a chemistry there. Jello is looking pretty good, actually. I see some tape of him now. Granted,
that guy is dead accurate from 3.
He's in a gym. I get it. He's not being contested in the NBA, but I really think this guy actually deserves a real shot on a team. And give him some minutes and let's see what he can do. But Lonzo Ball is going to be chased by every damn team in the NBA. He's a good point guard.
You do have to give something up in return. And with the way the Pelicans are going right now, they just pulled JV in, giving up who they give up, Holiday and Valanciunas.
That was a great pickup for them because JV came off a great season last year. I still like him. I was hurt when he left the Raptors, through trade, but I really like JV.
Ja right now, though. Ja's got to be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it easier. Who else you got there? Who else you got there?
Next, another restricted, Jarrett Allen, 12.8, 10, and 1.7.
The Raptors will be pursuing Jarrett Allen. There's no doubt about that.
23 years old, too.
Yeah, we're looking for the young guys. We're looking to build a team. This is what the Raptors basically. I was talking to somebody else about the Raptors. And basically, what the Raptors need to do right now is build for a 2026 championship run. That's what we're building towards. It's not going to happen next year. It's not going to. It's going to be 2025, 2026, where you get some of these younger guys to get into a position where they're hitting their prime around that time. OG, if we keep Pascal hopefully hitting his prime and becoming a different player. Fred VanVleet, Suggs, Flynn, if we have them. Like, we need to build these guys. That's really why I want to trade up for Evan Mobley, because we don't have a guy that's really in that position who's going to be a problem for other teams. If you can put 20 pounds, 30 pounds on this guy, you're looking at Chris Bosh, but with better blocking ability.
I think if you could put 20 to 30 pounds on Boucher, you've got Chris Bosh.
They could have put 20 or 30 pounds on him, though. Like, if they would have done that, they would have already done it. Like, he needs that already.
Listen, he needs to just start smashing those poutine and the hot dogs from La Belle Provence, and he'll put on those 20 to 30 pounds.
Just call up Embiid and get his his Slurpee order or whatever it is. This guy's just eating McFlurries, double fisting McFlurries all day long. But I do like Jarrett Allen. It'd be a good addition to the team for sure.
Next is the last of the tier ones, also restricted. Lowry Markkanen, 13.6, 5.3, and 1 assist. He's a 7-footer and 24 years old out of Chicago.
Yeah, no, I like him. I haven't really got a chance to really watch a lot of him, a lot of his tape, but I do like him. I liked him when he was drafted. I don't know. I don't know what the commanding market is, but I was watching something where they're talking about big men, and is this the return a little bit of the big men? Because look at what's going on in the league. You had Jokic as the MVP, who really the MVP would have been Embiid had he stayed healthy. So you got two guys at their position. And then look at Giannis. You got your finals. These are big
by
guys.
design.
I mean, he's just a beast, right? But I mean, by design, a guy that can, slash in the middle, go down low, wherever the case might be, sometimes stretch, because that's what this league is. I don't think the league's going to go back to the old center style of basketball, but there's an idea here where there's a need for an interior presence. It's not going to get easier by having smaller guys in the middle. You need to make it more difficult for these teams that want to play small ball and they want to slash.
We're in like 79 to 82 in terms of a rewind of basketball. Magic, big point guard, or big forward. Yeah. McHale, Worthy, Jabbar, like big dudes in the middle, controlling and patrolling the paint. Okay, let's get to the tier 2 now. So we spoke about that $15 million for John Collins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we got a player.
15 plus.
So here we got a player, 18.6 compared to 17.6 of John Collins, 3.1 compared to 7.4, and 1.9 compared to 1.2 assists per game. John Collins is 23. This player is 28 and just happens to be none other than Norm Powell.
I love Norm. Look, Norm's going to command a lot of money in this market. I don't think maybe the fit is there for Portland. Portland's future is
destroyed,
up in the air. Dame is not. I really don't think Dame's going to be playing there. I don't think he wants to play there anymore, despite what he says into the media. I don't believe it.
No,
he doesn't
say the right things. He's saying
he needs to go. He needs to go somewhere where he's going to be appreciated with a top tier, talented all-star player. And that's not taking anything away from CJ. CJ is a great player. He's fantastic, but they're not going to move the dial in Portland together. It's just not going to happen. So if he goes, I wouldn't be surprised if Portland tries to move CJ and essentially rebuild that team completely. Just try to pick up picks, do something like OKC had done over the next few years. OKC will be a good team because they're going to draft a whole bunch of crazy
draft picks.
They got like 25 picks. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're going to have a complete. They're going to have an AAU team in a few months. But yeah, I mean, Norm Powell, he's probably going to go like 20 million to pay him to come back to the Raptors, sour grapes. I just don't feel it. I like Norm, best of luck to you, but I don't think he's going to end up on this team. I'd like to see him maybe in like a team like Miami or something like that.
That'd be a good fit
I think that'd be a good fit for him. But he's not.
Or Atlanta.
Atlanta. You know who's going to look really good? I think is going to be a little bit surprising next year because I think they have the 4th and 8th, or sorry, not the 4th, the 5th and I think 8th pick. And I think there's a lot of young talent on the team. Is Orlando? I think Orlando's going to be kind of an emerging city.
They've got a couple of good guards there too.
And these guys want to play where it's hot, right? Yeah. So why not look at the Magic and try to build out a team there like you have in South Beach, etc.
Okay, next, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Like Tim Hardaway Jr.
16.5. Yeah. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 29 years old.
Like him. I don't think the Raptors will go after him. I'm not sure that he's a fit for our team.
No.
Do like him, but I don't see the Raptors making that play.
For a 29-year-old off guard, no.
Well, I mean, we got too many guards. We're already pretty guard heavy as it is now, and if we're gonna get a guard, I want an all-star.
So now remember, these are tier 2, right? So next up, we've got Kelly Oubre, 15.5, 6, and 1.3 at 25 years old. Not
good.
Bad.
He's good, but I think he's too much of a loudmouth for a team. He's his own worst enemy kind of player.
He definitely is.
I like guys like PJ Tucker, who was a Raptor at time. Congrats, PJ, on winning the championship. But I don't mind when guys talk, but you got to be able to back it up night in and night out. And I don't think Kelly Oubre is that guy. He was actually better in Washington. I don't like him on Golden State.
Yeah, he was.
Actually, he gave us some problems when we played Washington. I think it was in 17 or 18. He was a bit of a problem for us.
He was.
But when he went to Golden State, and I'm not sure what happened there, the chemistry is off with him.
I mean, you remember that team? Wall, Beal.
Those guys. Listen, you've heard me talk about Beal till the cows come home. I've been begging for Beal since mid-season of 2019. I say, bring Beal here. I don't care what you got to give up. Put him next to Kawhi. It's a championship. Now we got a championship anyways, but Beal's a real problem, and I want to chase him as much as I can.
Next on the list, Rashawn Holmes out of Sacramento, 14, 8, and 1, and he's 27.
Not too familiar with his game. Don't watch a lot of Sacramento for obvious reasons. We trash them almost every time we talk about basketball. It's like a place where players go to die. So when I see Sacramento on the screen, I just turn it off. With that said, all depends on pricing.
He won't.
I'm open to anybody
with
that.
Right?
I'm open to anybody that can play a role on the team, know what their role is, and how to contribute to the players around them.
He's 5 years in the league. Stats have been going up steady every year.
He's in Sacramento, though.
Yeah, but his stats are going up in Sacramento. He is 6'10", 235, so he's got some meat on the bones.
I like 6'10" guys. I like guys who are 235 plus. 240 is where I like those power forward centers. Again, I think the Raptors need to have a solid center power forward. I mean, that's what we missed this season. Losing Gasol, losing Ibaka, those were huge hits for us. That a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, Mark didn't do a lot." Listen, the offense ran through Mark. If you ever watched the Raptor game, Mark was basically your point guard.
Yeah.
And Serge, that 17-footer, he's automatic.
Yeah.
Okay. He never misses that 17-footer. And he's always active on the glass and moving his body and playing with his feet. Those are things that you don't get from a 23, 24-year-old. These are guys that are 10-plus years in the league that know how to do that kind of stuff.
For sure. Next on the list, we've got Daniel Tice.
I like Tice.
Under 10, around 6 rebounds, 2 assists a game. He is 29, though. So he's only got 4 years of service time at a Salzgitter, Germany.
Yeah, I mean, again, pricing is everything, right? I got to know what these guys – I don't mind filling the bench up with, again, solid role players that know how to play the game of basketball, that are going out there and giving their energy. I mean, we're going to have to re-sign, I think, unless we're able to sign and trade or get some other pieces in the mix. But I think we got to re-sign Gary Trent Jr. because he's like your Norm Powell for a cheaper price. You got to give him minutes, though. That's a guy that needs minutes.
Tice is making about $5 million a year.
Pick him up for $5 million. I'd be okay with that. Yep. He's gritty.
He's definitely gritty.
I like grit.
Next up is the 27-year-old Andre Drummond, who's averaging 15, 12, and 2. You talked about a center, a big body. He's it. So if you can't draft someone with a big body and some weight, Drummond, who is averaging 15 and 12, I mean, could be a decent option. I'm just looking up his contract right now.
I wanted him last year. Like I was interested in having him come to the team last year. I think he's going to be in the 20+ range. So
he's coming off a veteran min at 800,000 with the Lakers last year.
Yeah, but that was to Chase. What was he making the year before?
I'm pulling that up right now. Give me one.
He's worth more than that. I'd probably still rather have somebody a little younger with a little bit higher basketball IQ overall.
So he's averaging roughly around 16 million a year.
Yeah, and it all depends on what he wants to do. Does he want to make money or does he want to win? If he wants to win, it's easy for him to re-up at the Lakers for whatever, $1 million, $2 million, get a championship with, Debo and Lowry if they go over there. I mean, he's got options. I don't think the Raptors will be at first on his list. Sure, I'd love to have him for $12 million, $15 million.
We have Mafuzi Serge Ibaka with a player option. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. And he's 31 in the shoes, but in his real age, a la birth certificate, he's more like 38.
So we basically could have kept Serge. It was the same. It was the same contract. It was the same contract. If Lowry's not here, I mean, you can tell that Serge likes to have fun. Yeah. He wants to be around guys that he's appreciated, that he likes. If Lowry's not here, there's no way he's coming here.
No.
Sure. Kawhi literally lured him down there with one phone call saying, "Do you want to come down here?" And it was a done deal. So he's going to go where he can have some fun. I think
I think he said, "I'll do your show if you come here," and he did your show.
I think he'll probably stay there despite Kawhi not lacing up this season. But
so the last is a restricted free agent and someone the Lakers said that they would not trade in the Lowry deal, and Horton Tucker, who averaged 9, 2.6, 2.8, 20 years old.
I like young guys.
6'4" off guard though.
Again, we got lots of those.
That's the thing, right?
If we draft Jalen, then I'd probably take a pass on that. I'm looking for a trade. I think what the Raptors need to do, depending on who they pick, is they need to work a trade.
So here's trades. Let's talk about this now. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios. 3 guys. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Shai
Alexander-Gilgeous. He was just being talked about today.
Beal.
Oh, they wanted to trade up. I think that's what they wanted to do. They wanted the pick.
Or Westbrook. So we have the 4th pick, and we could utilize that 4th pick and player personnel right now to get any one of those 3 guys. Who do you get?
Without having to give up more players, because you're going to have to give up more players.
You're going to have to I said, so with player personnel.
Okay,
so you're going to give up the 4th pick and a guy or 2, or the 4th pick and next year's pick and another guy.
I'll go after Beal for sure. He's just a cold-blooded killer. He's emotionless. I mean, the guy will just go out there and just hurt you with 40 if he has to. My only concern with Beal might be health long term. You're probably going to have to give up your 4th pick and Pascal or somebody like that if they're willing to take that ridiculous contract that I consider it ridiculous.
They have to match, though. In trades, the contracts have to match, and I think
which is close.
Almost do.
Beal's got to be right around there. He's got to be at 29, 28 million.
So with that exception, in terms of the value of that 4th overall pick, I think they're there. So if you can trade up the 4th and Siakam for Beal, do you sign that deal right now?
Beal's got 1 year left on his contract?
Yeah.
After this season?
Yes.
Compromises the integrity of the future of the organization by giving up Siakam and a 4th pick.
Yeah.
I can't do it with the 4th pick. I'd rather package Malachi and Siakam and a future pick maybe for next year. the fourth pick is going to be important if you were to bring Beal here. The thing is, then you wouldn't be looking at Suggs likely, and you'd probably go for more like a guy like Kuminga or something like that, I think.
Okay, so then you're not getting Beal. They want the fourth. So if they want the fourth, where Shai, you've got years left on the contract.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Tough, eh?
That's a really tough one just because you bring Beal here, and then who do you have around him to make a push?
It's basically going to be a Kawhi situation. He'll play out his contract, then he's gone. Like, that's what's going to happen if it happens.
I like the idea that you get rid of the contract, like a big contract like that. The problem and the challenge that we're always going to have being in Canada is that every single player that plays for the Raptors is making less money than they would, dollar for dollar, than they would if they played for a U.S. team because of taxes. Yeah. Now, we may pay them more to come here, and so it makes it up over time. But, if Kawhi was to re-sign for the exact same amount of money here, he would have made like $1.5 million less over the entire term of the contract because you can charge tax daily for what country that you're actually in. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the challenge, is that you'd unload that ridiculous Siakam contract, but really 2 years, which is kind of the time that he has left on it anyways. And you give up a pick that you could have long-term to kind of rebuild the organization for that 2025, 26 push that I'm saying. I wouldn't do it. No, it's not the right deal for us. We need that fourth pick. We need to, if anything, we need to trade up, like I'm saying, I think, for Evan Mobley. That's my personal opinion. That's the guy I like in this draft for the Raptors.
Okay.
You're looking at Chris Bosh. With the player development that we could bring him and 25 pounds, this is going to be a guy who's going to be a real problem.
See, I get where you're coming from. Number one, I don't think I would trade up. I would take the best player at 4.
It's going to be Suggs probably.
If it's Suggs, it's Suggs. Then you have to look at moving Milwaukee and potentially Siakam.
I'm not saying that like I don't like
guys.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a bit of a dog. I think he's got a lot of Kyle Lowry elements in his mentality. I just, you know me, man. I still like the old style of basketball. I still think it's important to have a big man on your team.
Yeah,
I really do. I think it's. We got somebody in the chat here saying we need Green or Mobley. Green's going to go number 2. I mean, this guy is a killer.
Yeah, he is set for that second pick.
I don't see anybody not taking him. If Raptors can get Green, take him immediately. Don't even take him.
100%. I'll say this. I think what happens is if I can give up the 4th pick for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the 4th pick, I do it. I would do it. I
got to see what this deal was here because I
glossed
over it today.
It was Shai to Cleveland for the 3rd. That was it.
Is that it? It was straight up?
That was it, straight up, because they wanted Mobley. That was it. It was a straight up Shai.
Some people are saying Mobley might go 2, but I don't see it. You got to take Green at 2. The guy's a killer.
I don't know. Some teams need size, right? Mobley's got that size.
He's going to take a year or 2 though, like before he's ready
to take time
start banging
for sure.
Yeah, to start banging.
That's why I think Scotty Barnes is a bit more of an attractive fit because he's already athletic. He's not going to take as much time to develop. And if you have a good coaching staff to handle him, I think he has a bigger upside than Mobley or Kuminga. I think Scotty Barnes is going to be a steal this draft. That's guaranteed.
I hear what you're saying.
Cade was decent. Let me tell you, everyone is putting this on Cade. I don't think Cade is going to be the best player in this draft. Mark my words. He will not be the best player.
I mean, he has really no downside. Like none.
Trust
whatsoever.
me. I'm telling you right now.
And if he can keep his quiet confidence that he has, he just signed with Nike, by the way. He's the first guy in this draft to sign with Nike, and for the most amount of money, he will go number 1.
Where's he going?
Be an all-star.
Let's.
I get he's going to Detroit. I get.
And who's the coach in Detroit?
Who's coaching there now? I don't even know. Is it Dwayne Casey?
It's Dwayne Casey.
That's right.
What does Dwayne Casey do to guys? He runs them out of town.
Listen, Casey gave the Raptors plenty of great years. I won't do it.
Hey,
I won't allow it to happen. I won't allow it to happen. And then we got rid of him that same year. But I'm not going to get into that because I'm not gonna do it to Casey, man. Like I get he has his faults. We basically did the same thing to him that we did to DeRozan. Sent him out, brought one in. We got a chip for us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shy, I do like Shy. I like bringing obviously Canadian talent home is always great. But then you got the pressure. You know what it's like. You know what we do. We got another one here. Masai needs to do everything he can, but be smart to trade up in this draft to get Green or Mobley. Not going to get Green. It's never going to happen.
Well,
Mobley,
no,
yes, we need to trade for him.
Masai's been trying. He's been trying his damnedest to get to move up. In fact, I think he offered the 4th and Siakam to get that 2nd. So, I mean,
I love that, but who's going to want to take a $32 million contract of Siakam and then take Suggs or whoever. And
that's the problem,
pick, right?
I mean, now you're talking about moving a different type of young player. I think Green and Van Vliet would be absolutely dynamite side by side, but I think it's going to take a bit more to get over the hump. Like literally 3 or 4 more picks and a couple of guys. And the couple of guys you're talking about, OG and maybe Siakam, or Siakam and maybe OG. I think it might be too rich to get up. I still think Mobley might go 2nd, though. I think if we can move the 3rd with Cleveland, again, Cleveland's going to
work that Jared Allen trade into it.
Yeah, try and swap that where maybe you toss Siakam and Malaki and you get the 3rd and Jared Allen. I mean, that could be a scenario that might
still work. No guarantee. I mean, yeah, you get Green or Mobley, which is great. So I mean,
you still get you get one better though. So that's an opportunity there.
It's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot on the table. And as we mentioned earlier in this episode, I know we got some guys joining us here now. If you didn't watch the earlier part, check that out where we're talking about Masai. But maybe he's going to do something that's really going to knock the socks off
what did I tell you?
Let's hope that's going to happen. Because what I want to see, and again, listen, this is one thing with Evan Mobley. Again, we talk about player development. We talk about not Green, the other guy that you were mentioning.
Who?
Boucher? No, not Boucher.
Kuminga.
In the draft, not Kuminga.
Scotty Barnes.
Player development. Listen,
yeah.
We are the best at player development. There's no doubt about it. But look, how many guys are we developing right now? How many guys can we develop at the same time and be an effective team and be a playoff contender come next season? I want someone who can hit the ground running if we're going to draft them. Now, Evan Mobley, I'm willing to take the exception. I know it'll take him a year or 2 to get really comfortable in the position and a role within this team. If we do end up with Suggs, this is a guy that will start on this team.
I don't think he does, though.
I think he's going to start for sure.
I don't think he does.
You have Malachi coming off the bench to relieve one or the other,
what I'm trying to say is Suggs and Flynn are the same player, and Flynn has a year in the development system that Suggs doesn't have.
He definitely has.
So why draft the same guy? There's no.
Well, then you got 3 pretty elite guards, though, also, right?
But they're not at they're on the floor at the same time.
They could be. We don't mind playing small depending on the right team. But again, you need some presence inside. And if we don't fill that void with somebody,
then you have to go to free agency. You've got to pick up a guy like Lowry Markkanen or Rashawn Holmes. Like that's where you have to get your size and your depth. I mean, if you're going to draft Suggs, you need to spend in free agency. And this team doesn't really seem in the past to want to spend in free agency. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So we got Bob Charlie in here saying, I think Masai would package Flynn if he wants Suggs, which is what I said earlier in this episode. You're not going to keep Flynn here. You're going to move him to a team that can use him as possibly a starting guard. I mean, he's got talent. If he's working hard this summer, it's possible on a team that's a little bit lower tier. He's likely going to come off the bench, but he's got a lot of upside too. He was tearing up the G League.
Listen, you have to remember that there's an opportunity here that Suggs goes 3rd.
It's
and
possible.
Mobley goes 2nd, and Green falls right into our lap. So, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen until these picks come in. But if we don't get what we need, which is size or scoring, we need to hit that in free agency. So I would look at a guy like Jared Allen, whether you've got to flip something over there. Lowry Markkanen, Tice would be a good addition.
You know what I'm feeling?
And maybe having to spend some money.
You know what I'm feeling a little bit right now?
What?
I'm feeling like the Raptors are going to draft and trade that draft player up.
What,
it's going to be a Vince. It's going to be a Vince Carter. It's going to be a Vince Carter. James. I'm getting a feeling that something like that is going to happen now.
Where like
I wish I could get into Masai's head because
Cleveland will take Green and then we'll take Suggs and package Suggs and someone
do something or Mobley and Jared Allen. Exactly. We're going to do something like that. Maybe send Pascal over to Cleveland somehow with some other packaging and
that's interesting.
Way to trade.
I can see that happening.
I could see Masai pulling something like that off. That seems like a Raptor type of move.
Well, what's the next step here? We're going to come back after the draft and we're going to talk about all the crazy stuff that went down.
Yes. So the draft is Thursday night. We're going to be live Thursday, I think, for a couple of episodes. Yes. Tomorrow we got cardboard cutouts. So if you like that, we got 8 guys in the chat here. Hold on. Yep, 100% agree with Junior. Raptors suffered in scoring, went on offensive droughts 5 minutes at a time. They also suffered in rebounding.
Baines was terrible. Oh my God, Aaron Baines.
Baines' efficiency, every time he was on the floor, that he was like a minus 8,000. This guy was absolutely terrible. He says that the Raptors didn't use him correctly. I don't think anybody can use him correctly. He was terrible.
Do you put a broom in his hand? Is that how you use him correctly?
He was absolutely horrible. And if you watch any of our shows, anytime we talk about the NBA, we're always talking about rebounding. Rebounding wins basketball games in this league. And every league that basketball is played. We need bigs. I like the comment. Thanks, Bob Trelly, for getting into the comments there. Like, comment, subscribe, everybody who's watching. We'd love to see it. Yeah, I never see. Yeah, exactly. Okay, listen, Pascal is the king of shooting airball threes.
Or bouncing the ball off his own knees.
Oh, the guy's absolutely... Oh, man, he just really hurts me. Remember that ticket, Junior? If you guys like betting, we have betting shows too. But that ticket, Pascal killed me when he was just standing around looking at the clouds. But anyways, let's wrap this up. Jump on to us on Thursday. Maybe we'll hit it Friday, depending on how late the draft goes. We're going to break all the draft stuff down. Hit that subscribe button. Comment below what you guys want to see from us next. We're here all the time. Join us on our Offside and Out of Bounds at our Instagram page. Comment, like, subscribe, guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back. Lots of Raptor stuff coming and lots of other sports stuff coming as well. I am Adam.
I'm Junior.
And we're going to see you real
soon.
Sub.